The hangar was louder than a storm, but nobody expected the quietest heartbeat inside it to be the deadliest. Inside a military hangar alive with mocking whispers, a lone woman worked in silence on an Apache helicopter's jammed minigun. Around her, soldiers smirked, trading jokes at her expense, certain she was out of her depth. Only 3 hours remained until the mission launch, and the air was thick with pressure as commanding officers swept in to monitor progress. But everything shifted when the pilot drew closer and spotted something hidden beneath her sleeve. In an instant, the laughter died. The hangar froze. The woman they had been ridiculing was not the nobody they thought she was. She was someone they should have feared all along. From which city are you watching this story today? And if tales of hidden strength and unlikely heroes grip you, make sure to subscribe for more. Morning light sliced through the dusty air of Forward Operating Base Kestrel's main hangar. Technical specialist Emma Hale moved through the crowd of mechanics and soldiers with practiced invisibility, her boots barely whispering against the concrete. 3 months stationed here, and people still blinked twice when they saw her, as if they couldn't believe she hadn't been just passing through. She had just reached her station when the loudspeakers crackled. Attention all maintenance personnel. Priority alert. Apache Valkyrie weapon system malfunction. Mission departure in T-3 hours. The hangar erupted into chaos. Emma's eyes followed the scene as senior technicians exchanged wary glances, none daring to volunteer for what everyone knew could wreck a career. Valkyrie was Colonel William Callahan's personal aircraft, and its M230 chain gun had been the nightmare of the maintenance crew for weeks. Perfect, a low voice sneered behind her. Chief Riker Blackwell's hulking shadow loomed over her station. Mission critical, and the birds got a jammed minigun. His gaze swept the hangar before settling on Emma with a smile that carried no warmth. Hale, since you're so eager to prove yourself, the bird's yours. Snickers rippled around her. Someone muttered loudly, "Does she even know which end fires?" Emma's expression never shifted. "Yes, sir. I'll handle it." She gathered her tools with calm precision, ignoring Specialist Tyler Day's raised brows as he mocked, "What's she planning to do, rebuild the whole gun?" Emma stayed silent. Silence, she had learned, was sharper than any retort. The eyes of the hangar tracked her every step as she approached the Apache, the crowd waiting for her to fail. This was their entertainment, watching the quiet woman stumble over something they swore she couldn't handle. Climbing onto the frame, Emma took one steadying breath. She opened the access panel, her fingers moving with disguised familiarity, forcing herself to slow motions that her muscle memory begged to execute with flawless speed. For a flicker of a moment, her mind was elsewhere. Her hands slick with blood, making the same adjustments under tracer fire lighting a night sky over mountains she wasn't supposed to be in. She pushed the memory away. "Better hurry, Hale," Blackwell called out. "Clock's ticking, and Colonel Callahan doesn't forgive excuses." As the morning dragged on, the crowd around the Apache grew. Emma carefully dismantled the weapon, studying each piece with relentless focus. She spotted the first issue quickly, a misaligned feed tray. But she knew it was only a symptom. The real danger lay deeper. Microscopic fractures in the firing pin assembly, flaws invisible under routine inspection. 2 hours into her work, the hangar doors groaned open. Colonel William Callahan entered, his weathered face heavy with controlled concern. At his side strode Captain Sarah Navarro, Valkyrie's pilot, already in her flight suit, ready to fly. "Blackwell," Callahan's voice boomed. "Status report." Riker stiffened. "Working on it, sir. More complicated than we thought." Callahan's eyes narrowed. "Who's on my bird?" His voice sharpened. "Hale, sir," Riker admitted reluctantly. The colonel's brows lifted when he spotted Emma, half hidden behind the weapon. "And Specialist Hale is certified for this level of repair?" Riker jumped in quickly. Perhaps we should reassign. Get someone more experienced. I need an MX-17 pressure gauge. Emma cut in softly without looking up. The hangar froze. The MX-17 was specialized gear, known only to advanced weapons units. We don't stock those, Riker scoffed. Yes, we do. Every head turned. Sergeant Evelyn Reeves had appeared quietly, her eyes fixed on Emma. I'll get you one. Her tone gave nothing away, but her gaze lingered with measured weight before she slipped away. Captain Navarro stepped closer, her impatience bleeding through. Specialist, we're almost out of time. That bird needs to be combat-ready in under an hour. Emma reached deeper into the weapon, her sleeve sliding up slightly, revealing a strip of skin. I understand, Captain, she said steadily. It'll be operational in 20 minutes. Navarro leaned in. Disbelief etched across her face. 20? The diagnostic alone takes 30. Not if you skip redundancies and focus on the primary firing system, Emma replied before catching herself. She had revealed too much. Reeves returned, pressing the MX-117 into Emma's hand with a subtle nod. Their eyes met, a flash of recognition passing between them unseen by the rest. The pressure thickened as the clock ticked down. Colonel Callahan paced. Riker hovered nervously, his arrogance fading. Maybe we should prep the backup bird, he muttered. I don't trust this fix. Sir, Emma said firmly, her voice cutting through. I've isolated the fault. The firing pin assembly is fractured from extended high-altitude ops. The feed tray compensated incorrectly, causing the jam. Silence swallowed the hangar. Navarro's curiosity sharpened. And how exactly did you detect fractures without a scan? Emma demonstrated, sending vibrations through the components with the MX-17. The resonance shifted, exposing the weakness. Navarro's eyes widened. That's armorer-level technique. Standard mechanics aren't trained in resonance testing. Emma didn't answer. She just worked. When Emma reached for the final adjustment, her sleeve rode higher. Navarro's gaze caught the mark on her inner arm. A black phantom raven with golden eyes, split by 3 lightning bolts. The captain froze, her body snapping to rigid attention, her salute cracked like a gunshot. Spectre Actual, she breathed, her voice shaking with shock and sudden respect. Ma'am, we weren't told Umbra Division had someone here. The words struck like thunder. Conversations died mid-sentence. Tools clattered to the floor. Colonel Callahan's head whipped toward Emma, disbelief searing his features. Emma stilled, then rose slowly to her full height. The shift was undeniable. The quiet mechanic vanished, replaced by a commander cloaked in authority. At ease, Captain, she said evenly. I'm not here officially. Callahan stepped forward, his voice tight. Umbra Division. That's a classified strike force. Special operations. Reeves's voice carried across the silence. Not just that, she was second in command, Umbra Division, 18 confirmed ghost ops. Reeves paused, her words heavy with reverence. The CARICOM extraction was her. Whispers surged through the hangar. The CARICOM extraction. Legendary, shrouded in secrecy. Its impact still shaping global politics 3 years later. Blackwell had gone pale, his earlier mockery swallowed by dread. Callahan's voice was careful now. I think we need to talk, Commander Hale. Emma scanned the hangar, meeting the stairs now filled with awe and unease. Her eyes landed on Blackwell. The Apache is operational, Chief, she said coolly. Targeting system will need recalibration after the mission, but it'll hold. Blackwell stammered, Commander, I apologize for unnecessary. Emma cut him off. You assign based on judgment. That's your job. Callahan stepped closer. What I don't understand is why a commander from Umbra Division is turning wrenches in my hangar. Emma's eyes met his. Perhaps that conversation belongs behind closed doors. He nodded. As Emma descended the Apache, the crowd parted like water, their eyes lowered or wide in disbelief. The mechanic who had walked in now carried herself with the weight of command. Captain Navarro fell in beside her. "Mission, Commander. Do we proceed?" Emma's reply was quiet, but carried authority that filled the hangar. "Yes. But there are modifications we need immediately." As they moved toward the exit, Reeves intercepted, her voice low and urgent. "Operational security is compromised. Our comms were breached at 400. Emma Hale didn't flinch. "That's exactly why I'm here," she said evenly. "The mission parameters are the bait they've been waiting for. Colonel." William Callahan's eyes narrowed. Understanding spreading across his face. "So this isn't about a broken Apache at all, is it?" "No," Emma replied. Her gaze swept the base perimeter, mind calculating firing angles and vulnerabilities with the ease of a seasoned predator. The Apache was never the true objective. "Colonel, your mission is walking into an ambush. But if we play this right, we'll flip their trap against them." Callahan's office had been hastily converted into a tactical hub. Maps, monitors, encrypted data feeds lit the room, while senior officers gathered in tense silence. Emma Hale now stood before them, not in coveralls, but in uniform, and somehow she looked like she'd worn command her entire life. "3 weeks ago," she began, pulling up encrypted transmissions. "Intelligence flagged irregular commas linked to this base. We suspected a breach targeting today's mission." Callahan's voice was low, almost reluctant. "So command sent you here under cover." "A known Umbra operative would have spooked them," Emma explained, "but a forgettable mechanic." That drew no suspicion. Captain Sarah Navarro leaned in. "You're saying my mission's compromised?" Emma shook her head. "Worse, it's a trap." She pulled up a satellite feed, pointing at a ridgeline. Portable anti-aircraft batteries were installed. "Here in the last 48 hours. Your flight path walks you straight into their kill." "So?" The room froze. A chill seemed to settle over the officers as they realized the scale of betrayal. "How can you be so certain?" Callahan pressed. Emma didn't blink. "Because I've been watching since the day I arrived. Last night, I intercepted transmissions. Coordinates confirmed. This isn't coincidence. This is a carefully laid ambush." Chief Riker Blackwell shifted uneasily. "Then why keep up the act? Why let us treat you like you were nothing?" Emma's expression was flat, unreadable. "Because the infiltrator is still among us. They had to believe I was exactly what I appeared to be, an ambitious nobody. Now?" Her voice hardened. "Now we spring the trap." With sharp efficiency, Emma unveiled her counter-operation. Navarro's team would fly as planned, but with deliberate deviations to bait enemy fire. A secondary strike team would circle behind the ridges, turning the hunters into prey. Sergeant Evelyn Reeves stepped forward, her role as Emma's hidden ally now clear. "We've narrowed our suspects to 3 infiltrators. Each one will be under live surveillance when the mission kicks off." Callahan's face tightened. "This is high risk. Higher risk," Emma cut him off, "is letting your people march into an ambush blind. Right now they think their plan is flawless. That ignorance is our greatest weapon." After a heavy silence, Callahan gave a firm nod. "We proceed with Commander Hale's plan. Captain Navarro, get your team ready." As the room emptied, Riker lingered, looking uneasy. "Commander, about earlier. My judgment, my words." Emma didn't glance up from the console, already forgotten. "No, ma'am." His voice carried quiet remorse. "It shouldn't be forgotten. I misjudged you based on appearance. And that's dangerous in combat." Emma finally looked at him, her gaze cutting deeper than steel. "Combat has one rule. Chief, underestimate the wrong person, and you don't live to correct it. Some learn by watching, others learn by bleeding. Which will you choose?" Riker swallowed hard. "Experience, ma'am. Every time." A faint smile ghosted across her lips. "Good answer. Now get your crew ready. If this goes sideways, we'll need you fast." Navarro approached next, suited and tense. "My team launches in 30 minutes. Then we need to talk contingencies." Emma pulled up the Apache schematics. Navarro frowned. You didn't just repair the weapons, did you? Not repaired, Emma corrected, pointing to subtle system changes. Enhanced. I integrated a prototype countermeasure package. If you get missile lock, trigger this. It'll buy you seconds that matter. Navarro's eyes widened. You anticipated this before your cover was blown. Emma's voice was calm, almost chilling. I survive by planning for disasters no one else sees coming. Her tone shifted, darker. The Caracum extraction? That wasn't just a mission. It was a slaughter. Navarro stiffened. The record says Umbra saved critical assets. Emma's eyes were steady, but the weight behind them was unmistakable. Official. Records leave out the graves. 23. Operators entered that valley. 3. Made it out. I was one of them. Navarro hesitated. And you were in. Command! Emma's voice was cold. I was... When command fell, I had to choose between retreat and completion. I chose the objective. The silence after her words was heavy, suffocating. She handed Navarro a small data chip. Alternate extraction points. Memorize and destroy it. If things collapse. This will keep you alive. The base snapped into full operational mode. Reeves monitored the 3 suspects as Navarro's Apache was rolled out for launch. Callahan stood beside Emma in the command center, struggling with a thought that refused to leave him. Umbra sending you here. It doesn't add up. Why would they risk one of their top commanders for counterintelligence? Emma's eyes stayed on the feeds. Because this isn't just your base at stake. What they're after connects directly back to Caracum. Callahan froze. That mission was closed. 3 years ago? Emma's voice was ice. Closed. Doesn't mean finished. Some ghosts don't stay. Buried. On the monitors? One of the suspects, Lieutenant Darrow, slipped into the server room at the exact moment Navarro's Apache lifted off. Emma's voice cut through the tension. Target 3 is moving. Reeves converge. Copy, Reeves answered, moving in with her team. In the skies, Navarro reported Valkyrie airborne. Holding departure vector. Deviation point in 30 seconds. The tactical officer confirmed Emma's. Attention didn't waver. Stand by. Phase 2 begins when they reveal themselves. Then, chaos Navarro's. Warning screamed over comms. Missile lock. Emma's countermeasure lit up, flooding sensors with false signatures, buying precious seconds. Now! Emma barked. Counter-ambush team, engage hostile positions. At the same time, Reeves's voice came through. Target 3 transmitting mission data. Transmission confirmed. Let him finish. Emma ordered coldly. I want the whole network exposed. Seconds later. Transmission complete. Apprehend him. The operation detonated into motion. Navarro's Apache drew out the hidden anti-air teams, who were immediately hit from behind by Emma's strike force. In the base, Reeves's team stormed the server room, seizing Darrow before he could flee. Within minutes, chaos gave way to precision victory. Callahan stared in stunned disbelief. You planned all of this while pretending to be a mechanic? Emma didn't look up. Umbra plans what others can't even imagine. That's why we exist. Reports poured in. Ambush teams neutralized. Weapons seized, infiltrator secured. Navarro's Apache returned intact. Against impossible odds, Callahan turned to her. Voice low. I'm impressed, Commander. But somehow, that feels inadequate. Emma's eyes never softened. Save the praise. Colonel, this was only Phase 1. What they were really after is still hidden in your classified archives. Something tied to Caracum. Something worth killing for. Later, in a windowless interrogation room, Lieutenant Darrow sat rigid, defiant, shackled to cold steel. Emma entered alone, her presence more suffocating than the silence itself. She sat across from him, studying him without a word. The silence stretched, intentional, breaking him before she even spoke. Finally, she leaned in. You know who I am now. Darrow's. Composure cracked for just a heartbeat. Umbra. Division, I thought you people were a rumor. Emma's stare was unblinking. That's the point. She tapped the tablet. Pulling up weeks of intercepted transmissions. You've been leaking classified parameters for 2 months. The only question is, Why this mission? Why today? Lieutenant, I'm not interested in your excuses. You're a courier, not the architect of this operation. Tell me what ties today's mission to CARICOM. The name hit him like a cold wind. For a breath, his face betrayed him. Then he swallowed it down and forced composure. I don't know what you mean. Emma's tone was quietly relentless. Your transmission included an encrypted subsection referencing Operation Nightshade. She watched him closely as the words landed. There is no public record of Nightshade, only a classified tag used for CARICOM. Behind the one-way glass, Colonel William Callahan and Sergeant Evelyn Reeves watched Emma work. Callahan murmured, "She isn't even pressing him." Reeves answered softly, "She doesn't have to. I've seen her do this. This isn't interrogation. It's a conversation with a script only one person knows." Emma kept the cadence conversational, almost gentle as she unfolded the history. 3 years ago, Umbra pulled 2 scientists from a CARICOM facility. The books say they defected with critical intel. The truth is darker. 20 operators died on that extraction. Darrow's jaw tightened. Sweat dotted his temple. Emma swiped the tablet and exposed another file. Those scientists weren't working on conventional arms. Their project was labeled Helix Protocol. She watched for his reaction. It came, a flicker of recognition across his face before he flattened it out. "So your handlers want more than a simple ambush," she said. They wanted access to the classified stores tied to Helix. Outside, Callahan leaned to Reeves. "We don't have anything on Helix here." Reeves's reply was cautious. "This base holds compartmentalized archives. You wouldn't necessarily see everything." Inside, Darrow's voice thinned. "I was following orders, information gathering. We weren't meant to hurt people, only distract Captain Navarro's team." Emma's eyes didn't soften. "Distract so another element could access the archives." Darrow's hands trembled as he tried to explain his limited role. "I don't know the extraction team. Communications came through authenticated channels, codes that checked out as official." He sounded genuinely confused. Emma's assessment landed cold. "You were used. Set up to be the face that falls while the real operation moved unseen." She rose without ceremony and left the room. Callahan and Reeves intercepted her in the corridor. Urgency sharpened their steps. "We lock down the archives now," Emma ordered. "If Darrow's telling the truth, another team might still be on site." Callahan barked back. "Already done. Security swept the instant we got your intel." Emma's reply was clipped as she moved toward the command center. "This isn't just an archive breach, Colonel. The Helix files are experimental, neural interface mapping. It's not just weapons research." They hurried through the base as Emma outlined the stakes. Reeves listened while Emma spoke. "Helix maps operator cognition, remote integration. In practice, it could let a handler influence multiple field operatives while keeping their faculties intact." Callahan's face went white at the implication. "Mind control?" He breathed. Emma's voice was iron. "A system that makes controlled agents indistinguishable from free will." "The consequences are catastrophic." Reeves pulled up live feeds from the storage vault. On first glance, everything seemed normal. "Too normal," Emma murmured. She scanned patterns for anomalies. "Check for looped video and timestamp drift." Reeves ran diagnostics and froze. "There, subtle looping. Time shifts of about 40 minutes. Emma looked to Callahan. "We need a hands-on sweep. No radios, no network tools. Go in physically." He moved to protest. "I'll lead," but Emma cut him off. "No, they expect a security sweep. I'll go with Reeves. If we move predictably, we walk into the plan." They set the diversion in motion. "Have Chief Blackwell stage a controlled maintenance failure in the hangar. Make it loud, visible, but contained," Emma instructed. As alarms began to echo, she and Reeves readied non-electronic entry tools and sidearms, slipping into maintenance tunnels beneath the archive. Reeves half smiled in the dim light. "Like old times?" Emma's reply was steadier than a promise. "Let's hope fewer ghosts this time." They rose into the archive underflooring as hangar teams rushed toward the staged emergency. Guards at the vault were reduced to minimal staffing. The plan worked. Under the raised floor, they threaded through server racks and stacks of sealed containers until Emma noticed the first signs. Faint scuffs, micro scratches on panel edges, a hairline filament caught on the door seal. "They were careful," she whispered. Reeves pointed at a near-invisible bypass spliced into the lock. Expert work, intelligence or military tradecraft. Inside the inner chamber, secured canisters sat in banked arrays. One cabinet gaped open, its contents gone. Reeves checked the label. Helix protocol extracted. Emma scanned the manifest. They took the interface protocols and implementation guidelines. She lifted the remaining module from its housing. "This is the mapping module, the neurological core. They left it behind." Her jaw tightened. "Enough to reconstruct parts of the system, but not full implementation." The sweep continued. In the ventilation duct, they found a tiny device clamped to the air intake, a timer and a chemical reservoir. Emma's breath tightened. "Not a detonator," she said, fingers steady as she inspected from a safe distance. "They plan to gas the chamber after extraction, erase evidence and any responsive teams." Reeves' fingers danced across tools and she neutralized the mechanism, bagging it for forensics. "Chemical agent intact. This will tell us who they are," she said. Back in the command center, they reported in. "Team reports 2 of 3 Helix modules taken. Remaining mapping components secured. No additional material removed." Callahan's question was brittle. How did they even know it was here? Emma's answer was the worst possibility. Fewer than 10 people knew Helix existed. "We have a compromise at a senior level," Reeves finished grimly. "A leak from the top." Emma keyed a secure channel. "Umbra Command Spectre Priority Alpha. Helix Protocol compromised." The encrypted voice acknowledged with clipped brevity. "Partial breach confirmed. Mapping modules secured. Extraction and pursuit authorized. Umbra team en route. ETA 2 hours." Emma ended the line and turned to Callahan. "A dedicated Umbra recovery will arrive. Until then, this base is at maximum lockdown." He asked the question that followed everything. "And you? Are you joining the pursuit?" Emma looked at her uniform, then to the hangar where Valkyrie waited, engines cold now but ready. "My cover is blown," she said quietly. "But my mission doesn't end here. They've moved pieces for years. They won't stop because they managed a partial haul." Outside the window, the base hummed with heightened purpose. Soldiers, vehicles, the faraway whine of rotors. Emma folded her hands, voice dropping to a promise that felt like a verdict. "Then we do what we do best. We become what they fear most, the hunter they never see. Could you stay calm when a single mistake could be fatal? Comment your thoughts, smash that subscribe button, and follow Black Nation Strength for jaw-dropping stories of courage, strategy, and heroes hiding in plain sight.